masculinity pertaining to versus the masculinity of the world. Okay? As we know that the Tate brothers have been charged with rape and human trafficking in both UK and Romania. Now, as you can see that in the world, the Tate brothers have amassed a following, okay, of young men who probably grew up without fathers, or grew up in a home where they don't see their father as strong, and so they gravitate to what social media says what a man is. Okay, and the thing is, the world's version is to have, to be vain, to get as many girls as you want, okay, rack up enough bodies, all right, wealth is the most important thing no matter what. Get it any way you can, all right, and status at any cost. The problem with that is there's a spiritual cost to those things, all right. The spiritual cost is the fact when you going from sleeping from girl to girl to girl, there is you're developing soul ties to these people, all right, and you are messing up your chances of actually being with a woman that you can trust to be your wife for marriage, and you're messing up your chances to be a good man to that woman, because in this sphere of red pill and stuff and body counts, the issue is because it's really just reverse feminism. It's feminism for men. That's what's also taught with these men, that it's okay to be sleeping with a lot of women, right? It's okay to just go from one to the next. And they talk about body counts, and how it's bad, but it's okay to be a man whore. It's wrong to be a whore, but it's okay to be a man whore. Okay? That's the issue here. That is the problem. There's hypocrisy. There's unbalanced scales. And the Lord talks about that He hates unbalanced scales. The Lord hates that. He hates when there is hypocrisy. Okay? He hates that the most. And God wants fairness, and He wants respect for both parties. You can't get respect from both parties if one side is told to be cherished and be chaste, when the other side is justified in being a whoremonger or a whore, and comes up with pseudo fake knowledge of the devil to feed the flesh. Okay? That is something that is abhorrent to God, and there's a spiritual repercussions for that. Okay? And men comparing themselves to the animal kingdom, when we're not animals. We're born with a conscience. Con means with, science means knowledge. We're born with knowledge. Okay? We have the law of God written on the hearts and our minds. So that's the reason why you have civilizations that are somewhat civilized, even though we're marred with sin, but we know there's lying is wrong. We weren't taught the 10 Commandments, but you know lying is wrong. You know adultery is wrong. You know murder is wrong. You know stealing is wrong. Okay? All right? Now, there's nothing wrong with being a provider and having money. But when you make that your God, that's when the problem starts. That means you will get money by any means necessary. That is the issue. There's no restraint. There is no scruples. Okay, like, well, you know what? I won't sell drugs to make money. Okay, because that's wrong. The world's way is masculinity. Get money any way you can. All right. That's what it is. That's what it's about. And many flock to that because to the world, there really isn't much rules unless you get caught. There really isn't much rules. It's not much of a standard unless you get caught or unless you hurt somebody or unless somebody hurts you. Because the world goes by the Aleister Crowley version. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. What they don't tell you is you can't do, if you do something to somebody, do something, you could do something back. But you just said it's a free-for-all. Anyway, moving on. Okay. That is basically what it is to be a man according to the world. All right? You can make crooked deals in the business room, in the boardroom. Don't care about how it affects other people, how it affects a population. You know, you can see that example with the FDA. You know, Big Pharma. They don't care about herbs and treatment. They'd rather have you on drugs that just treat the system, treat the symptoms instead of cure it, because there's no money in cures. Let's just be honest here. Okay? That is how it is. All right? And also the fact that you can look up to anybody you want. All right, idolatry is all right. You can look up to anybody as long as they have an image that you like. You know, you can look up to Andrew Tate. Never mind the fact that a man has made questions to young boys about who would you sleep with. Okay, a trans woman that looks like Megan Fox, which is really a man. Okay, and let's just be honest. When a man wants to be a woman, he can't be a woman when he severs his member. He's just a eunuch, all right? So basically, that's what it is. So Andrew Tate would ask, who would you sleep with, young men? A trans woman that looks like Megan Fox or a trans man that looks like Hulk Hogan? That's what he asked, okay? This is the type of man that is spewing this nonsense to young men. And Tate is saying, like, well, I would sleep with the trans who looks like Megan Fox, because the trans man Hulk Hogan will mess you up. That's, for those of you who don't know, a trans man is a woman that wants to be a man, but she's not a man. It's just she just butchered herself. That's it. This is what he's saying. All right. And this is what, in the world, you can spew any doctrine you want as long as it's for profit. And that's what he's doing. He doesn't care if this damages young kids, young men for life, or messes up them psychologically. He just cares about getting money. Another thing, too, you can steal. Remember I said about stealing? Yeah. Tate has also been accused of rug pulling his audience. This is the type of stuff he's teaching young men. This is the devil's doctrine. All right? Do what you will. So now you're teaching, and this is the thing, Tate is blind, and he doesn't understand that you're teaching young men to steal, all right, to kill relationships, and destroy any type of character that you have within yourself and others. Steal, kill, and destroy. Okay? This is what he's doing. All right. And you will have men, sadly you will have Christian men, some of them will think that he's the greatest thing ever. He's great, he's motivated. I don't know about motivation, okay? Because you have to understand this, what this man is about. This man is about doing what, cam girl prostitution, okay? The man is not mentally sound, okay? And he does, I will say, yeah, he needs prayer, because if you look into the background of this person, his father was mentally ill in the military, and he had to be discharged. Okay. So you'd have to pray for this man, because you can see the damage that could take a toll. There's also some saying that his father used to assault his mother, beat his mother. So you can see that learned behavior. And this is the type of makeup that will have a person saying stuff like this. All right? You don't have to be credible anymore. Back in the day, you had to have some credit. You had to have some sort of accreditations in order to talk to people the way he's talking. All right? Now, it just feels that anybody could do that. Anybody could take up a mic and say, you know what, I'm a red pill influencer. All right? I'm here to help young men. And he's really there just to con young men. He's a Pied Piper. That's what he is. He's leading these men off a cliff, these young men off a cliff. That is what's happening. And sadly, many are adapting to it. Many are adapting to this Pied Piper song. The Song of Fools. Okay? He's even teaching men to be traffickers and how to be pimps and abuse women. I don't think that's something that is I don't think that's something that God would want. Now, the thing with being a man of God, there's humility, okay? There is self-awareness in certain situations. All right? Let's just say, for example, okay, if Tate was not, let's just say Tate took a different path. Let's just say he wasn't going to be a person in the cam girl business. You'd be somebody that, you know, I need to work 2 jobs. Working with your hands. Or going to school. There's humility there. There's an honoring of the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. All right? Having no other gods before me. Okay? That's the masculinity, all right? The masculinity in God is obedience. That's basically what it is. There's no lying at any. There's no like getting your goals at any cost. There's a structure. You're not going to scam people to get wealth. You're not going to defraud people. You're not going to try a lover boy method, okay, and scam innocent women, especially minors. To be a part of to be part of some sick human trafficking scheme. All right? You love your neighbor as you love yourself. Okay? Since the female is a fellow human being, you will love your neighbor as you love yourself. You don't want to be harmed. That's someone's daughter. That's someone's wife, future wife. You don't want to harm them. because you want nobody harming you. That's it. That's how it is. That's what it means. All right. There's an honoring of the Ten Commandments. To a lot of people, that's weak. And, that's another thing with biblical masculinity. It will have you at odds with a lot of people who don't have morals. There are more children of the devil than there are children of God. Okay? Because children of the devil go to church. All right? The scribes and Pharisees, they had the scriptures. They knew Jesus was the Messiah, but they rejected him for power and wealth and influence over the people. Because they knew if they accepted Christ, okay, they would have to give up their dreams of power, because Christ was not the king that they wanted ruling over them. And that's the thing. A lot of us men, we will not accept Christ as masculinity because we want masculinity of the world. And Tate fits that description. They want the women. They want the pride of life, the lust of the eye, the pride of life. Okay? Problem is that the pride of life, many are in prison because of the pride of life. Many are divorced because of the pride of life. Many have broken families because of the pride of life. Okay? They look at the riches, oh, he's rich and stuff, and he has all the money, and that's great, but what happens when you die? Okay? That's what nobody talks about. Nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about how you're just one breath away from eternity. Okay? And what legacy do you leave behind? If you're living like Andrew Tate, you're scarring women and replicating a demonic image of masculinity to young men and boys. But someone will say, well, he talks against feminism. Yeah, that's great, but he's also for misogyny. So what's the point? If you're spreading the truth about feminism is evil, yes, feminism is evil. It is evil. It is part of the occult. It is demonic doctrine. But if you're spewing your own demonic doctrine, what is the point? You tell me cocaine is bad, but you're promoting fentanyl. How are you any different? Okay? That's another, and biblical masculinity will require you to be brave. Okay? Loving the Lord with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength. That means you're going to be standing up to people who are admired in the world, looked upon as a blessing, but they're an abomination to God. You'll be a Moses. You're commanded to be like a Moses standing up to a Pharaoh. Okay? You'll be like John the Baptist standing up to King Herod. You'll be like the Apostle Paul standing up, to all the witchcraft of his day. Alright? That's what biblical masculinity. Biblical masculinity will ask you to be brave, command you to be brave. And that is the cost of it. All right? Biblical masculinity would even command you to die for God, die for Christ. You know? You check out how all the disciples died. Look up how all the disciples died. It wasn't pretty. Okay? The end is brutal, yes. It can be brutal. You can be lonely. That's another thing too. If you want a woman, God's not going to give you a whore. He's not going to give you his daughters so you can make her a whore. All right? Andrew Tate says you can sleep around, but biblical Christianity says no, because there's a price to pay for that. In the world, yeah, you may have a marriage end and then you can find another one. No, that marriage ends, now you're celibate for Christ. The world's masculinity says, you should lay down your life for your country. Now, we all know that, those of you in the know, you know that the military is run by satanic elite oligarchs who will send you to die for a lie. And the only war worth fighting is the one fighting on your knees, praying in spiritual warfare against the devil and praying for people's souls. Okay? That's the only war worth fighting for. Biblical masculinity, that's where it's at. But it's a choice. It's a choice. It's a tough road. It's a tough road. But in the end, you get to be with heaven. You get to be in heaven with Jesus, because he says, those who suffer with me will reign with me. And when everything's all said and done, you will reign with him in the new heaven and the new earth. So the choice is up to us. We got to choose this day who we will serve. Peace and God.